All right, we want to take you to the White House, where President Trump is meeting with Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards as that state extends its stay-at-home order. Let's take a listen.
1,090 plus individuals. So it is the first truly high-powered, randomized, placebo-controlled trial. It was an international trial involving multiple sites, not only in the United States, but in various countries throughout the world, including Germany, Denmark, Spain, Greece, the UK, etc. The primary endpoint was the time to recovery, namely the ability to be discharged. When you have a study like this, we have a data and safety monitoring board which looks at the data. And they are independent, so there's no prejudice on the part of the investigators because they're doing the trial or the drug is from a certain company. The Data and Safety Monitoring Board on Monday afternoon contacted me on April 27th, first on Friday, the week before, and then again on April 27th, and notified the study team, namely the multiple investigators who are doing the study throughout the world, that the data shows that Remdesivir has a clear-cut, significant, positive effect in diminishing the time to recovery. This is really quite important for a number of reasons, and I'll give you the data. It's highly significant. If you look at the time to recovery being shorter in the Remdesivir arm, it was 11 days compared to 15 days. And that's a p-value for the scientists who are listening of 0.001. So that's something that, although a 31% improvement doesn't seem like a knockout 100%, it is a very important proof of concept, because what it is proven is that a drug can block this virus. And I'll give you an example in a moment of why we think, looking forward, this is very optimistic. The mortality rate trended towards being better in the sense of less deaths in the Remdesivir group, 8% versus 11% in the placebo group. The reason why we're making the announcement now is something that I believe people don't fully appreciate. Whenever you have clear-cut evidence that a drug works, you have an ethical obligation to immediately let the people who are in the placebo group know so that they could have access. And all of the other trials that are taking place now have a new standard of care. This drug happens to be blocking an enzyme that the virus uses, and that's an RNA polymerase. But there are a lot of other enzymes that the virus uses that are now going to be targets for this. This will be the standard of care. This has nothing to do with vaccines. This is treatment for people who are already infected. Vaccines is to prevent infection in those who are at risk.
Perfect.
talking about a potential breakthrough in the race for treatments for the coronavirus. Dr. Anthony Fauci is expressing hope today about a drug called Remdesivir, which could be used on patients hospitalized with the virus. Anthony?
It's being tested now, Gail, at the National Institutes of Health, although we're still early in that process. Dr. Fauci made his announcement in the Oval Office. Ben Tracy is at the White House. Ben, what exactly do we know about this drug?
Well, good morning. First off, we should say this is not a cure, this is not a vaccine, but in a clinical trial, this drug does seem to shorten the recovery time for patients who are hospitalized with coronavirus. Now, Dr. Fauci says it's quite good news. He even compared reading the data the other night to what it was like when they first started to find drugs to treat HIV back in the 1980s.
The data shows that remdesivir has a clear-cut, significant positive effect in diminishing the time to recovery.
Dr. Anthony Fauci calls the drug Remdesivir the new standard of care after a clinical trial showed it can block coronavirus and speed recovery time. Hospitalized patients who took the drug recovered in 11 days, compared to 15 for those given a placebo, a 31% improvement. But the drug, made by California-based Gilead Sciences, had a very small impact on the death rate, and the study still needs to be reviewed.
As more people, more companies, more investigators get involved, it's going to get better and better.
President Trump, who has been criticized for promoting unproven coronavirus treatments, had a surprisingly measured response.
It's a beginning. It means you build on it. I love that as a building block.
The drug is not yet approved, but the president wants the FDA to do so as soon as possible.
We would like to see very quick approvals, especially with things that work.
President Trump is now replacing his daily briefings on the virus with events that focus on the economy, meeting with CEOs of hotel chains and restaurants Wednesday. The president says he wants the country back open, even without a vaccine, because he's convinced the virus will disappear.
Without a vaccine, sir, why do you think the virus will just be gone?
It's going to go. It's going to leave. It's going to be gone. It's going to be eradicated.